has got no ratings. It's a failed network. Anybody here from CNN, by the way? Because you're a really disgraceful network. MSNBC, I think, is actually worse. But they're all pretty bad. But yours is good, Katie, I'll tell you.
Mr. President,
You know what Marco reminded me that he did such a nice job there? It was 9 years ago I had to debate this guy. He was not easy. I think he even got better. But when you were into your little thing, I said, this is when I had to debate this guy. You think it's easy to debate him? It's not easy.
When you were into your little thing? To what are you referring? That's Trump at the NATO summit at The Hague, the Netherlands. Very upset, I have much more for you, about the fact that it dared leak that his own intelligence assessment shows that the strike on Iran wasn't as successful as he claimed. So all that he put at risk, the reward would have been what they said was a complete and total obliteration. They repeated that many times. You'll hear it repeated here many times. Obliteration, destruction of Iran's nuclear program. Now we're hearing that maybe it just set them back months tops, was the quote from an intelligence source. And Trump's not happy that people are finding out about that.
An unbelievable hit by genius pilots and genius people in the military, and they're not being given credit for it because we have scum that's in this group, and not all of you are. You have some great reporters, but you have scum. CNN is scum. MSDNC is scum. The New York Times is scum. They're bad people. They're sick. And what they've done is they're trying to make this unbelievable victory into something less. Now, even they admit that it was hit very hard, okay? But it wasn't hit hard. It was hit brutally. If you were in the Situation Room with me, with the generals and all of the people that did such a good job, and then they get demeaned by these idiots at CNN who can't get...
Okay, so you get the point. In front of world leaders, at a moment of consequence, he's just going on and on and on about his insecurity that maybe a decision, this isn't about demeaning the people who followed orders and did their job. This is about getting the truth about the outcome of a presidential decision, as we have the right to, which is interesting. He's very much doing the, you're not patriotic if you disagree with me. And that's what happens when he tries to weaponize the stories of the service members. This is not about them. We honor and respect them. This is about you making a bad decision and you overseeing an operation that now you seem to be lying about, which is notable because, as I said, if he didn't get congressional approval, went forward with something that could have launched us and still could launch us into a full war with Iran, then you would at least hope that it would work. It's kind of like, no, I won't say that. It's like I would never kill somebody. I would never murder somebody, right? Of course. And if I did, I'd have to get away with it. I'd have to really see it through. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do a halvesy. I want to I don't know, kill them and then be like, oh, I'm sorry I did it, you know? But I wouldn't is the underlying point there. So he shouldn't have, he shouldn't have. But if you're going to do it, you better go all the way and accomplish the goal that you said you were going to accomplish. And that's why he's so upset, because he knows how that looks. That if this only set us back, or set Iran's nuclear program back months tops, then it's hard to make the argument that all of that risk was necessary. Especially when he said he was the great negotiator and could negotiate a nuclear deal than this.
We hear it was obliteration. It was a virtual
obliteration. Guys, I think it was on yesterday's bonus show, which, by the way, if while we're live, you click the join button on YouTube, I will thank you for becoming a member, and that's how you get access to the bonus show. Welcome, everybody, to the morning show. Good to have you with me. We talked about on yesterday's bonus show multiple clips, and we looked up synonyms to try to give them assistance, because they're all using the exact same word, obliterate, which gets a little bit silly because you go, there is a new intelligence assessment that is preliminary, but it's saying that this didn't actually destroy the nuclear program from Iran based off of different, analyses. What do you say? I think they obliterated. It comes off so talking point and so simplistic. All right, let's keep listening.
We hear it was obliteration. It was a virtual obliteration. When you take a look at the ground above, don't forget the flame is all underground. But everything above, if you look at the before and the after picture, everything above is burned black. The trees, everything. There's one building, but that's a building that sunk substantially into the granite, so that the fire goes right over it. I believe it was total obliteration. I believe they didn't have a chance to get anything out.
Was it obliteration or total obliteration?
We acted fast. If it would have taken 2 weeks maybe, but it's very hard to remove that kind of material. Very hard and very dangerous for them to remove it. Plus, they knew we were coming. And if they know we're coming, they're not going to be down there. It was very severe. It was obliteration.
That was so interesting. At a different clip I saw, he said they couldn't have moved their stuff because they didn't know we were coming because we came so fast. But right here, he just said they knew we were coming, so they had time to move their people. Presumably, a part of what's problematic here is they may have had time to move the enriched uranium and maybe even the other stuff. They call it other stuff, nuclear, the N-word.
The N-word!
Right. That's what Trump calls nuclear. Then, and we've had that soundbite on the soundboard for weeks now. And Cole had said a couple times,
N-word, 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 N-word.
I think we're good. I think the one time was all right, Cole. And Cole said, I don't really know when it's appropriate to use that because Trump's using it it feels in most circumstances it would be very inappropriate. But I said, just wait until we're actually talking about Trump talking about the N-word, which is what he calls nuclear. And I didn't know he was going to do the echo. That was a special little addition. All right, here's Mark Wayne Mullen because it's like the whole world's waiting to see.
Give me a joke.
Yeah, what happened in Iran? What's the truth? Was this actually not as successful as Trump said? And I guess Mark Wayne's going to fill us in on it.
Thank you. I need you to clarify for me.
The Defense Intelligence Agency. So the Defense Department, they don't have eyes on this like our IC community does. It was a premature leak, and without question, it needs to be investigated. This kind of information cannot be leaked. And because you have fake news like CNN running with the story, and it's absolutely false.
They were salivating.
And because you have fake news running with this story like CNN, and it's absolutely false. I feel like he's trying to do the logic because CNN is covering it, it must not be true. But Bubba, literally Levitt already confirmed the legitimacy of this report. She just then said it's not right, but that it's a real report from within the Defense Department under Hegseth's control. Because they need to assess what happened for their own purposes. And yeah, I agree. On principle, classified information leaking is not good. But then we get it. And then I'm happy I know it. Because I would prefer Trump and Levitt and whoever come out and tell us what their assessments say. The non-classified versions. But we know they won't tell the truth. So we are relying on leaks. Even though, technically you shouldn't leak. Okay. But you also shouldn't lie. And I tell people they look good all the time when they don't. Then you have Trump here at the same press conference talking about Putin.
Just changing gears to your meeting with Zelensky later today, can you give us any preview of what the two of you might be discussing?
No, well, we'll discuss the obvious. We'll discuss his difficulty. He's got a little difficulty. Zelensky. He's a nice guy. I mean, I'm going to meet him today. I don't know. I assume we're going to be discussing Ukraine.
Yes.
I mean, it seems like the most likely subject.
Any restart talks there or anything that you might do?
Well, we're going to see. I mean, I've spoken to Putin a lot, and he actually was very nice. He volunteered help on, as you know, on Iran. I said, no, I don't need help on Iran. I need help on Russia. Okay? I said, do me a favor. Help us on Russia, not on Iran. But he was very nice. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk. I think progress is being made.
No progress is being made. The fact that he said that means no progress is being made. Now, I want to show you, first of all, guys, I just wait, okay? Just, can you wait? Just stop, okay? I have put a lot of time into cultivating the knowledge on this subject so that I can give you thoughtful, meaningful, and accurate analysis, not driven by emotions, not driven by lust, for example. So all of that being said, that's real. And I don't care about anything other than being right about the facts, and that's what you've been getting. And also, I blushed when I saw this video. I did. He has his suit war outfit on. His war suit outfit.
Good evening.
I'm going to come. The biggest load that we've seen.
Oh, gosh. Woo! Guys, the reason he did that is because a commenter said, please combine the I'm gonna come soundbite with the biggest load that we've seen from his comments on Ceasefire. Thank you. So, Cole, obliged. Ask and you
Beautiful Cole.
ask and you shall receive. But woo! Man. All right. Back to focused analysis. That's it. That's all. I just wanted to share that with you. Okay. All right. Here is Trump now getting asked, hey, you remember that whole 24 hours thing? And Trump goes, see, the thing is, you don't understand. It's very complicated.
Go ahead, right in the back. Yeah.
Are there babies in the room? What are there babies in the room for at the NATO summit? We struck Iran.
You tall one. The tall man.
Mr. President, Johannes Petra from Austrian National Television.
How are you?
You once said that you would end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. You later said that sarcastically.
Of course it was sarcastic.
But you've now been in office for 5 months and 5 days. Why have you not been able to end the Ukraine war?
Because it's more difficult than people would have any idea. Vladimir Putin has been more difficult. Frankly, I had some problems with Zelensky. You may have read about him. And it's been more difficult than other wars. I mean,
You know, the thing is everyone's like, Trump, end this in 24 hours. And I'm like, guys, what the hell? It's really, do you know how complicated it is to end a war? Do you know how complicated that is? You think I could just do that in 24 hours? Are you saying what kind of psycho? You think I could just gotta settle and it would all go solutioned?
you got to settle.
You think I could just say that and it would solve itself? No, it's a war. Putin is an invader. He is a tyrant. You think he's just gonna stop because I ask him? What kind of sick game are you playing? Thinking I can end this in 24 hours? You had said it like 100 times. It's so interesting for him to go, it's much more complicated than you would think. No, than you would than you. We knew, you. We knew, you. We knew it was more complicated than you thought. Not than we thought, than you thought. That's what we said. Actually, it's not complicated. It was very simply the opposite of what you were saying that it was. So it's very simply Putin wanting to invade, which is why it'd be difficult to end that, because you can't just snap your fingers and get a hungry land empire expanding hungry tyrant to stop. You can't just snap your fingers and do that. We knew that. You didn't. And what a aggravating thing for him to go, of course it was sarcastic. You told me You told me that you were going to be loyal to me, that we'd be monogamous, and then you had sex with 17 dudes. I was being sarcastic. The hell? You take that down. It's like sometimes the sarcastic thing doesn't work. You're just lying. I found you at one of Diddy's freak-offs. You told me you were never going to cheat on me. I was being sarcastic. Damn. That's just lying. You were just lying. It's weird how when I try to fake cry, I start actually crying. Sarcastic. He repeated that. I know we've shown the video before. I won't do it this time, but it's just so ridiculous. And my issue with it is that it proves he didn't understand the conflict. That's the important part. It's not, you lost. It's he thought, and I don't know if he actually thought, but at least his supporters actually thought that the only thing in between that was preventing peace was that Biden was warmongering with Ukraine, or that Zelensky was warmongering. And so that they thought by just going, hey, Zelensky, we're going to cut off aid if you don't get a resolution, and then calling Putin going, all right, we can have a resolution, they won't join NATO, that was the analysis that would lead to peace. So that proving that it's wrong, and it really is just Putin trying to take over Ukraine and him saying that all of Ukraine is his recently, literally. That's the part I want them to reassess. Not just were they wrong that Trump was a great negotiator, but what variables about this conflict did they misunderstand that led to them to thinking that Putin was totally pumped about allowing for peace? All right, Trump posted this video. I don't even know what to make of this. I'm disturbed by this. It's a song. Yesterday, I played you satirically a guy going, hey, Iran, don't bomb us, or something. And it was like someone mocking someone who would not take it seriously. And then Trump just posts this video that's a hype video for the bombing.
Bomb, bomb, Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran. Some rocks.
Went to a mosque, gonna throw some rocks.
Gonna put you in a box.
Gonna put the Ayatollah in a box.
Old Uncle Sam's getting pretty hot. Time to turn Iran into a parking lot.
Did you just hear that? Oh, Uncle Sam's feeling kind of hot. It's time to turn Iran into a parking lot. This is his True Social account. What kind of psychopath posts this?
Old Uncle Sam's getting pretty hot. Time to turn Iran into a parking lot. Bomb Iran. Bomb Iran. The country's got a feeling really in the ceiling. Bomb Iran.
I don't even turn their nuclear facilities into a parking lot. Turn the whole country. Eviscerate the whole country. Let's see. What are people responding with? Excellent work, sir. There were no leaks. They're still crediting him with no leaks. Except he finally didn't leak something. Yes. The shadow before the storm. A lot of Obama stuff. No one's upset with this? Well, that's just psychotic. It's just psychotic. He's just a psychotic human being. I don't know what else to say. Okay, all the pair, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you greatly. David, thank you for upgrading your membership. Souljourner, thank you for becoming a member by clicking the join button on YouTube. I do appreciate all of you joining, even if we have to witness disgusting stuff like that. And I mean, putting it to such a good tune too is sick. You know what I mean? Like, the message is nasty, but then for it to be such a good song, like that, the da da what that's an already established song without those lyrics. A Beach Boys song, it's just terrible. Because your brain goes, it's kind of, I won't say it. It's like a different thing. It's just too catchy, but it's terrible. You might know what I'm talking about. So then it gets stuck in your head, and then you're like, I hate this. I hate these lyrics. We have a live show, and we're in our final days before it. And I saw the, what's it called? The layout, the plot, the floor plan, and some of the production preparations, and it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty cool. So you want to be there. Austin, July 5th. Get your tickets, lukebeasleyshow.com/live. And if you go in the link in the description, then you can find that. Now, I do, before we go on to a little bit more here, we have a lot more in this show, but I do want to say to the live stream audience a little something here, which is, we did a whole segment on this yesterday, but it didn't get that many views, so I need to make sure all of you see this. If you're getting contacted from people proclaiming to be me, even someone sending a fake photoshopped driver's license to prove it's me, it's not me. The way our rule is, if there's something that I want you to reach out to me for, like recently someone told a story of their mom going from MAGA to non-MAGA because of watching the show. And while we were live, I said, can you contact at lukebeasleyshow.com/contact, send more about that story, and so I can read out your story on the show. You'll hear me plug the URL on the show. If I don't say it on the show, or if it's not linked in our description, don't be going to other people's Zelle, or I'm not going to ask any of you to Zelle me money or Venmo me money or send me money. The only way you send money to the show is by becoming a member, which you do on YouTube, so you know it's legitimate. And if you want to go to the live show, like things like that, or if we're doing a fundraising effort, you'll hear me bring it up on the show. I won't comment during a live stream. I think how it happens is people will like comment to you while you're commenting and be like, you'll see down at the bottom of this screen, it's saying, I'd love to hear from you, with all these emojis. I don't have that many emojis. I'm gay, but I'm not that gay. And so that's not how I would even text you if I did. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to comment and then say, contact me directly. I'm not going to DM you and say, contact me directly. So just be careful, because can you zoom in on the driver's license? People are getting so advanced trying to emulate me. They're just stealing my identity and doing a photoshopped with, by the way, my correct birthday. That's kind of freaky. I guess that's out. That's public, but very weird. And I do just absolutely adore. So just scammers out there, I said this in the segment, but do not scam. But if you do, continue to say that I'm 6'4". That's awesome. I am not 6'4". I'm like 5'10" and some change. I don't know if the change is down or up, but it's give or take 5'10", okay? Give or take an inch. No, 5'10". It's 5'10". So be careful is my point. Be careful. Yeah. Just don't, no one from my show is going to reach out to you saying, Luke wants you to send him $100 over Zelle. That's not happening. It's not me. And that's not my driver's license either. my real driver's license. Here, I'll show you all. Just kidding. All right, down goes Cuomo.
As a New Yorker, I am an immigrant. My people were refugees, poor refugees, who came from Italy because America was the place for a better life. As a New Yorker, I am a Muslim. As a New Yorker, I am Jewish. As a New Yorker, I am black. I am gay. I am disabled. I am a woman seeking to control her health and her choices, because as a New Yorker, we are one community. The New York community is composed of all of the above.
Does that mean I can make jokes about all those groups because I'm in them all? I am black. I am disabled. I am gay. I am... What were the other things? I am a woman. That's funny. That's just a clip from when he was governor. And people clap. Yes. Yes. What an interesting way to give a speech. But he lost. So he was governor, he resigned, and then he ran for mayor, and he was the front runner by a long shot. And then Zoran Mandani ended up winning, which is pretty interesting. We saw Cuomo's message. No, that was from a while ago, but that was his campaign platform. I am gay. I am black. This was Mandani's.
Good morning, everyone. We are approaching the dawn of a new era in New York City. We are turning the page on the corrupt politics of the past that made this the most expensive city in the United States of America. Today, I am filled with gratitude for the more than 50,000 volunteers that have powered this campaign for the last 8 months, for the tens of thousands more who have already cast their ballots. And I'm filled with conviction that we will win this race. We've shown that by focusing on the issues of working and middle-class New Yorkers across this city, that by listening instead of lecturing, that by creating a politics of no translation, New Yorkers will join you in your fight for a new city.
I'll stop it there. So I am not a New Yorker, so that means I don't get to simultaneously be disabled and a woman and black and gay and all of those things. But I'm not a New Yorker, and so this is not something I've kept up with so much. We mostly cover national politics, but I do want to tell you what I think the takeaway for national politics is from this race. Zoran Mandani declares historic victory in New York City mayoral primary after Cuomo concedes. And Cuomo was the far and away frontrunner, but he represented the old guard. And I use that term, how it's meant, which is the establishment of the past, not necessarily an age thing. This also had an age split, but more forward thinking, in many cases younger, representing a new batch of leaders versus the Democratic Party of the past. That's what this divide became. And I have, honestly, plenty of issues given that he's identified himself as socialist, and I'm not a socialist, and that's going to bring up plenty of disagreements between Mandani and myself. But when it becomes that establishment versus an outsider, there is a moment in this country, there is a pulse that I resonate with that says, let's give the outsider a chance. We're so sick of the establishments on both ends of the past, however different those two sides of the spectrum are. Zoran Mandani appeared to have cleared the first hurdle on his path to becoming New York's first Muslim mayor, declaring victory in the city's Democratic primary on Tuesday night, although it could be days before the final result is known. In a stunning upset, Andrew Cuomo, who had been a heavy favorite until recent weeks, conceded after it became clear the 33-year-old Democratic socialist had built a substantial lead over the more experienced but scandal-scarred former governor. In his speech to supporters, Mandani said, "Tonight we made history," adding, "I will be your Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City." So whenever it's a Democrat, like once you get the Democratic nomination, you're pretty much a shoo-in to be mayor because the city is going to go blue, especially with the excitement around Mandani. He's going to be the next mayor. It seems pretty abundantly clear after winning the primary. So again, I don't know every in and out of this race, but from a 30,000 foot view, you have to assess, and we'll get to other bits of information on this, the hankering, the hunger that people have for real systemic change. And I hope that the solutions that Mandani seeks to implement aren't ones that we've seen failed in other cities that kind of go a little bit too far left, but also aren't the centrist-y, establishment-y, not systemic change stuff we've seen fail for generations, or for decades, I should say. One little funny note is Mandani, at one point in his life, had a little music career, and this video came of it. And this is just the type of stuff that I think people resonated with, that you would see in town hall settings and when he would interact with people. Just, I keep saying this, we need just normal humans, just humans. And Mandani would connect with people just as a human in a way that felt just comforting. And people are done with the sort of politician that's a robot, and they want to feel like they see themselves in their leaders.
Go ahead, make a rap for your naughty. It's a rap. Get the guap, spin the rack on your naughty. Spin the rack. Come through, give a dab to your naughty. If you really feeling good, spin a track for your naughty. Go ahead, make a rap for your naughty. It's a rap. Get the guap, spin the rack on your naughty. Spin the rack.
Yeah. Make him mayor. No, that's fun. Yeah. So a few takeaways. Jon Favreau said maybe the old guard Democratic establishment should stop throwing their weight behind candidates that voters keep saying they don't want. Just an idea. Exactly. And yeah, if you are concerned with the socialist part of it, I've learned that often even people who identify that way end up just being able to move the needle a little bit. So it's not like they're going to implement New York City socialism. But well, then maybe you should put forward candidates, if you're more moderate, that are actually exciting and new and understanding that they really have to move the needle. People want real change. And Cuomo represented everything about the status quo. I saw someone try to make the argument that Mandani isn't qualified enough, which fine. He doesn't have a ton of qualifications. But if you defend Trump and the people he staffed his administration with, I think you're going to have a tough task there making that argument.
The Daily News, as did the New York Post. So anybody who knows how bad New York can get all came out against Mandani, because a 33-year-old with zero experience running anything except a little office with 5 employees should not be running the city of New York.
Donald Trump is president of the United States. His experience was being on The Apprentice. He's head of the Pentagon, whose experience was being a weekend anchor on Fox. Are you kidding me? He's got Dr. Oz is in his administration. Dr. Oz,
you're leaving out something.
Me?
He's a 33-year-old socialist who's never run a popsicle stand.
He's literally in city government right now. Sorry. After Donald Trump, I'm sorry, after Donald Trump and his Pinky in the Brain administration, no one ever gets to talk about qualifications.
So qualifications matter for sure, and people are in an outsider moment right now. Let me see some of his key policy promises. Housing and rent freezes on all rent stabilized units, affecting roughly 2 million New York City residents. Rent freezes can get pretty sticky pretty fast, but build affordable housing, that's amazing. Yes. Depends how you implement it, but really important. Crack down on bad landlords. I don't know what that means. Transportation and transit, free public buses. Yes. Fast, fare free buses. Support congestion pricing. Childcare and education, universal free childcare. Yep. Good. Provide baby baskets, basic necessary supplies for newborn babies. Love it. Cost of living and basic needs. Launch city-owned grocery stores to drive down food prices. Okay. I'd have to see that plan. Position NYC to fight corporate exploitation, especially in essential services and goods. See, this is what people want. This is what the one thing that's really important is that he does not make the wrong decisions on public safety, because sometimes really progressive candidates have some really good policy ideas, and then on public safety specifically and a couple other issues, they get all out of whack, and then ruins their popularity and trust in them. So that's important. But I think, honestly, I saw people go like, this is communism, city-owned grocery stores. If you have the funding to have specific grocery stores to then compete the other grocery stores into lowering their prices, you're not going in and price controlling. You're not banning privately owned grocery stores and doing all government owned. You're just trying to add in the market that is subsidized by the government extra competition that forces the lowering of prices. I'm just assessing this now, but my gut, based on that analysis, says this isn't as bad of an idea and actually could be a really good idea based on or compared to what I hear a lot of people saying about it. Raise the minimum wage to $30 an hour by 2030. Okay, sounds economically high, but again, I would have to see the economic assessments on that and then other stuff. It keeps going on, but just to kind of get a sense of some of his policy points of view. Then you have former Mayor Bill Delasio reacting to this.
As you are watching this development, tell me what's going through your mind tonight.
It's an amazing upset. I mean, when you look at this number right now, this lead that Zoran Mandani has right now, with the early vote numbers, which were staggering, 25% of all early votes were people who had never voted in a New York City election. And we know a lot of that was younger voters coming out for him. This looks like he's in a very strong position to be declared the winner when the full count is done on July 1st.
So you do right now, as you're saying this, and I should note that you were urging people not to rank former Governor Andrew Cuomo. He was they were the two front runners going into this, it seemed like, based on the polling. But you do think that ultimately he's going to pull it out here based on what you're seeing so far?
Yeah, Caitlin, I think it's a combination. I did not expect Zoran to be.
So again, for a bunch of things that I'm sure you keep up with if you are a New Yorker are much more relevant to you there. But taking away, as we do with some of these special elections across the country, taking away a national insight here, it's that there is, and Trump represented this too, just in its worst form, but the Democratic Party has an opportunity to represent this in its best form, which is an urge for something different, more populist energy, outsider energy, and real systemic generational change. And that showing up here, let's sort of turn the page on the establishment and get something different and better and fundamental change. And if Democrats continue to be so afraid of that type of candidate, then they're going to stay weak. I think that the Chuck Schumer example represents what I'm talking about, where the Democratic base, I saw some polling about how in the first term, going into Trump's first term, the Democratic base was really supportive of Democratic leadership. And they felt like, yes, those leaders represent the resistance I want to see. Whereas now there's this real uprising against Democratic leadership within the Democratic Party. And it's because we've seen, despite the solid things that were done in Biden's first 2 years, especially legislatively, some really good things, given the level, the caliber, it's sort of like the stuff Biden did was really good for a decade or two ago. Now this moment calls for something so much more aggressive because Trump's taking us back so far. We need someone to jolt us forward, that it is really time to get those new leaders in who have more aggressive energy and who will fight a heck of a lot harder for more consequential policy changes than what we've seen in a very long time, because Trump is fighting so hard for his consequential policy differences or changes in the exact wrong direction. And yes, I see people making the point Zoran is very acute. That's always a bonus. And what's interesting is Cuomo, it's interesting that the old guard folks got behind Cuomo because he had so much baggage as the status quo guy, as the guy who had to resign sort of in disgrace. It was a very weird choice. And it set up Mamdani perfectly to represent himself as that next generation, new energy, fundamental change vision. Kelly B. Crazy said, Birthday Batty is requesting to hear that soundbite combo again. You know which one.
I'm going to come. I think the good parts are...
Oh, you got that soundbite. I'm excited for that one.
I'm going to come. The biggest load that we've seen.
Oh, I just pieced together that sentence. I'm so dumb. I get it. Because the very good. Stop it. Garden Kitty, thank you so much for becoming a member. Pawnee Deb, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Jake said, don't mess with the Zoran. Don't do it. So that's it's a big moment. And I'll be curious to see how he governs. Because again, when people describe themselves democratic socialists, often they mean they're just going to govern like a progressive. Because of the institutional restraints, especially if you're a city government, to like implement socialism, the full extent of it that you would imagine that I would be opposed to. But if you're talking about socialistic, as all regulations are and all government programs are, changes, as long as, I'm just saying, as long as you don't mess up on public safety, please don't go too wacky lefty on public safety, then I think something really good is in his future. The New York Post had a story, and this is funny. So, parenting is so difficult. I believe that. I'm not a parent that I know of, but I do find I have so much respect for parents, and it can be the most fulfilling and most incredible thing that anyone ever does. I think it is, really. If you really fundamentalize life, parenting is really something special, and it can be very difficult from what I hear. Luckily, my parents didn't have to deal with that because I was awesome, but other parents. But there's a solution, and a couple figured it out. Hey, just travel why don't you just travel the entire world, go to 40 countries, and homeschool your kid across the globe? Just do that. Other parents say it's unrealistic, but we love it. They say, oh, well, good. You can't afford groceries for your kids? Go travel the world with them. It's easy. Haters say their family has no class. No, who says that? And Diana Blinks, a married mom of 3, who swayed her daughters away from traditional academia to backpack across the continent, wouldn't have it any other way. No, I'm sure you wouldn't. Blinks. I'm sure you wouldn't. We're traveling the world while getting the different first-hand education for our girls. We wanted to see the world with our daughters. I love the framing of this segment. That's a really sweet family, but it's like, wait, why did no one ever think of this? You can just travel the entire world, and then they'll get very well versed and educated. Yeah, just a lot of people can't do that. How are you working? How are you you probably have just money. That's a big question that most parents aren't. Yes, most parents would love to do that. Now, some want their kids to have one stable community, and that's also good. But I traveled a lot as a kid because I was in a very lucky situation. Just being able to go all over the globe, well, I guess you work virtually and you can work in different time zones, it's like a very small sliver of the population's even option. She and hubby Scott ditched the everyday rat race in July 2022 to World School. Their brood, comprised of those 3 people, fully immersing them in globally diverse cultures. Traveling is really good if you can. Rather than simply reading books about how others live, their tweens are taking classes in Spain, and they're doing Greek mythology, and they're Athens, and Diana, content creator. Of course. I love it. The reason I love it is because they frame it like it's a, hey, have you thought of this? Some parents say this is wacky, but we like it. And it's like, no, some parents say they can't. That's what they say. They can't. So how are you funding this? Do you also work a wage job? How do you get wage jobs across the entire... Oh, no, I just post about it, and then our sponsorship's funded. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, everyone would like to do that, I'm sure. Keep social media fans updated on their whereabouts. And this is not hatred to them. I'm happy for them. This is awesome. But just the way the article is framed makes it so silly. The blinks are in the growing number of globe-trotting families bulking customary curriculums for unstructured... Isn't it curricula? For unstructured learning on the fly. The growing number. This is such a... I guess... Yeah. Anna and Michael Roberts, self-crowned Rome schoolers from Kansas, Missouri, previously told the Post they bid educational institutions a fond farewell after the COVID-19 pandemic and transformed a 1995 40-foot school bus into a live-in classroom for their 5 kids. Instead of being stuck behind their desks, the Roberts tots learned a new lesson. What about the parents? Why is no one explaining what the parents are doing? Goodness. No class because they aren't going to school, Edminster said. No, I think... Well, let me answer that in a second. Oh, I already read that one. Okay, good. Yeah, so Edminster, I don't think you have no class if you do have the resources to travel around the world with your kids. Great. What's that?
I think it's like a pun. Like there's literally, like they're not going to class.
Oh. I just figured out the soundbite thing. Can we not overload me right now?
It takes an advanced sense of humor. I don't expect everybody to understand.
Oh, thank you. That would have been a weird thing to go very long on. I get it. No class. Oh, it was literally saying no class. Like, they didn't have... All right, I'm done with this story. Shut up. Shut up, Edminster. Hey, what's up? It's Benny told me that I should watch this video. That's what Benny Johnson says every time he starts a video. Hey, what's up? It's Benny. He said, everybody stop what you're doing and listen to this. I'm howling. Okay, let's see if we're going to howl. JD Vance being a funny guy.
And the president looks over at me, puts the foreign leader on mute and says, this is not going very well, and he presses the red button. And my eyes get really big, and I'm like, Mr. President, you know, what just happened? And he looks at me and he goes, nuclear. Nuclear. And 2 minutes later, a guy walks in with a Diet Coke, and he looks back at me and he says, it wasn't nuclear, it's just the Diet Coke button. And that's... So that's the kind of guy, and my fellow Republicans, that we have as the President of the United States.
That didn't sound like an advertisement for Trump. That sounded kind of bad. No, I get it. It's funny. The button, the red button, and then people think it's a nuke. But if you do think that the president has a red button on their desk and they click it and somehow the button knows where the nuke's going and you just click it and it nukes somebody, then I think you need to go to a mental institution.
What the hell happened to JD?
The fact that JD Vance, who have you never watched like one documentary or even one fictional show about how nukes are launched? They have to get the thing and then they read the codes and the person on the other end reads the codes and then they line them up and then they turn the keys and both them hands at the same thing. It's not just clicking a red button on a desk. What would that even be? Like it's just for Russia? He's just like click and like
China
and then like X, the Elon's kid is running around rubbing his boogers on stuff and he accidentally clicks it and we just nuke somebody. I get that Vance is joking, but like let's go down the joke. Did he actually think that? Your eyes got big and wide. Oh. Also, every single person ever, JP. Did we get that on the soundboard? JP? No, we're going to get that soon. Has heard about Trump's Diet Coke button. Literally everybody. It was funny the first time we heard about it. I'm not mad. I don't know why I'm screaming. This is kind of something weird. This is weird to get mad about, but just, I don't know. When JD experiences joy, I get all upset. His laugh was so genuine. I've never heard him laugh like that. He was doing that. Take this down and watch. Watch his laugh. He's like so joyful. And I'm sad. I don't know why. I'm sad when he's joyful.
And the president looks over at me, puts the foreign leader on mute and says, "This is not going very well," and he presses the red button.
That's joy. What did you think? He's nuking the world leader? Like every time he's on a phone call, the red button just syncs with whatever country the world leader's from. So if he's annoyed, he just nukes them. Everyone's heard of the Diet Coke button. I almost said the Diet Coke button. Sorry. It just almost came out. The Diet Coke button. It's a video. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Then he does a middle finger. Ha 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 ha.
Trust me. In Washington, D.C., they have this thing where I think it means we're number one in Washington, D.C., but all the pink-haired people throw up this sign, and I think, that means we're number one, right? I choose to take that as that symbol in Washington. But all kidding aside...
All right, we've had enough fun. Let's reel it in a little bit. All right, JD. All right, JP Mandel. Hey, you notice that Tom Hman is still threatening to arrest public officials? I mean, they have arrested public officials, but he's so giddy about it. Watch this. Speaking of joy, this is Tom Hman happy. It's going to be tough to catch it, but he's happy.
So, the president signed an executive order just this week threatening to defund sanctuary cities for their policies. Why not just arrest the leaders who are harboring and shielding illegal aliens, actually terrorists, from deportation?
Wait to see what's coming.
Wait till you see what's going. Do it. Just he's always teasing. I guess they have, though. Let me just really quickly. Is Tom Hman married? Let's see. Tom Hman's married. Tom Hman is married. Somebody said, "Till death do us mother loving part" to this guy. Elizabeth Hman. I need to meet Elizabeth Hman. Why? Why'd you do it, Elizabeth? There's better fish. I promise. This is even a fish. It's like a jellyfish that got poisoned by plastic. Go get a fish. You don't need this. You're eating a really nasty jellyfish right now. It's like filled with oil runoff. There's other fish in the ocean, Elizabeth. I promise. So he's still threatening that. Having fun as ever with it. Okay. This is kind of similar to the traveling the world story. Here's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. saying he wants everyone in the country by 20-something to have a wearable, which is like a Fitbit or a Whoop or a watch, a fitness watch of some kind.
Diet, about their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the MAHA agenda, making America healthy again. And we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Following up.
Mr. Secretary, Dr. Jake Scott said Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s worldview. And this is, I would explain this to you, but Jake just did it so well. I think I texted him this, though, and then he posted it. But whatever. I'll give him credit. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s worldview reflects an idealized version of America where everyone has access to healthy food, quality care, and the luxury to micro-optimize their wellness. Public health isn't about serving those already thriving. It's about protecting everyone, preventing illness, ensuring access to care, and addressing inequities by investing in disease surveillance, research and development, epidemiology, access to reproductive care, safety net hospitals, community health centers, food assistance, etc. There's a growing tension between individualized wellness and population-level public health. One is a privilege, the other is how we prevent widespread suffering and keep entire communities from being left behind. I tried. I didn't end up playing that clip for you when we originally looked at this hearing because I hadn't yet put a finger on why that clip was so interesting to me, of him going, I want everyone to have a wearable. So like a watch, a fitness watch that tracks your steps and tracks your calorie output and all that. And that's what it is. It's like saying we need to make sure everyone has custom veggie smoothie makers in their house by 2030. Or, 2029, I guess. Wait, when does he say? 2029? Yeah, 4 years. 2028. 2029. And it's sort of, wait. So many people don't have access to consistent, affordable, even just kind of healthy meals. Millions of children are food insecure. They're not even getting the caloric intake they need. Or they're getting really cheap, unhealthy options. And we're talking about making sure everyone has a Fitbit? A Fitbit? I like Fitbits. Well, I don't actually wear Fitbits, but I had Whoop for a while. And then what was the other one? Garmin? I think Garmin. So I liked them. I just always lose them. It's like I just take them off and then they go somewhere. I don't know. But I liked them when I wore them. But an expensive watch that tracks all of your body movements is what folks who already have plenty of like, I'm never concerned if I have access to a healthy meal. I can go get one easily, or I can prepare one, or I could get one delivered, right? Which is the privilege that I'm experiencing. But plenty of people, that's not the option, that they're not deciding, do I get a Fitbit or do I get a nice smoothie maker? It's like they haven't even gotten consistent, healthy-ish meals. So it's really, that's what hit me about it. And he words it way more elegantly. I didn't hear him scream Fitbit anywhere in that analysis, but I think we're making a similar point. And RFK Jr. is, I think, out of touch. I think he's thinking the vaccines is one obsession of his. And then like maybe we slap a wearable onto everybody. But long before that, we should accomplish just getting healthy, hot meals into schools for any meal. I think with the wealth this country has and the willingness to give up trillions in taxes that Republicans have shown, claw back that tax revenue and spend it on allowing every single school in America to provide every single meal. I don't care if they have to stay open longer. If a kid needs a dinner, they get a dinner at their local school. I don't care if they go to the school. That's an imperative for public health. Meals that are actually substantive and healthy and balanced. And that would make a huge difference, because a lot of the health problems start when kids are just being fed what their parents can really young, and that starts a lot of problems. But he's talking about Fitbits. It's just so weird. Nikki Aldridge, thank you so much for becoming a member. Jacoby Slaps said, Tom forever and always, Hman. You know, at some weddings, like, I don't like when they do this. I like when they go, like, let's say it was whatever, Luke and Tom. Okay, Luke and Tom Hman. It would be like, now introducing Mr. Luke and Tom Hman. I just saw it. But at some weddings, when they do it more traditional, they'll go like if it's a woman and a man, they'll go, Sally. No, they'll go, now introducing Mr. and Mrs. John Webster, right? They won't even say the woman's name. It'll just be Mr. and Mrs. John Webster. And it's like, Mrs. John Webster? Huh? Can you imagine? I'm sure at Hman's wedding they did that. So at some point, some preacher or something, some priest, I don't know, what is Tom, said, and now introducing for the first of all, Tom kissed the bride. Can you imagine Tom Hman kissing anybody? But then somebody at some point in this country said, now introducing for the first time ever, Mr. and Mrs. Tom Hman. And a crowd went. Or actually, Tom Hman gives me the vibes of someone who just eloped in Vegas. Maybe he just eloped in Vegas. That was as happy as he could look to during their wedding. That was his going down the aisle face. And he was like, man, she looks pretty, but I wish I could arrest an undocumented immigrant right now. That would really get me going. Christopher McCain, thank you so much for becoming a member. Edminster said RFK is just a mesh suit for an ambitious worm. And on that note, thank you to Fernanda Mendez for the super chat. I'll talk to you next time.